Hey, Nathan, I heard you needed me for something?
Yeah, have a seat. So I got a project lined out, and it's a documentary style project. Actually, it's more like, have you ever seen the TV show This Old House?
No.
Okay, so anyway, there's an old PBS show called This Old House.
Okay.
And they restore old buildings. There's an old building on campus, the Opaline School. It's the one behind Christ Chapel Church.
Yeah, you pointed that out to me last week, yeah.
So that building is falling apart. It's infested with rodents. It needs repair before it falls to dust. It's not a full restoration. It's just a project where we're going to stabilize it so we restore it in the future.
Cool.
There are actually several partners on campus. We've got Barb Beagles, who I've got an interview set up with that you and I are going to go talk to. And there are of course, we've got the students who are going to produce the show. We've got some faculty and staff involved. And there are probably some other campus partners that are going to ultimately be involved that I think we're going to do interviews with them at their locations.
Cool, so I'm going to interview them, some of the contractors, do a little bit of the work.
A lot of it's going to be on site. Some of it's going to be at different locations on campus.
Cool, and so by the end of this, it'll look like a whole new building?
I hope so. Well, I don't know if it'll look like a new building, but it'll look like a building that's going to last.
Okay, and that is safe to go inside.
Yeah, cool.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jake Zom, and I'm here having a conversation with Barb Beagles from the Foam office. Hi, Barb. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions here today?
No, absolutely.
Okay, great. So would you mind telling us a little bit about Foam and what your role is in it?
You bet. So Foam is our facilities operations and maintenance department on the Boise State campus. I'm the executive director, and this department is responsible for all grounds, all custodial, and all maintenance for the 5.5 million square feet and 180 acres that are part of the Boise State campus.
With everything that you're doing for Boise State, how does Opaline fit into this? And what do you do for Opaline School?
Yeah. So Opaline was moved several years ago over to its current location, which is over by Christ Chapel on the Boise State campus. And unfortunately, it's kind of just continued to get into a bit of disrepair. So we just kind of made a decision, if we're going to have this building as part of our Boise State campus, we need to embrace that. And we need to make some substantial changes to the way that we're managing that current building. Right. So I worked with my supervisor and we came up with a plan, and we have been slowly working on updating the school, and hopefully we're going to be able to turn it into a building that we'll be able to use for a lot of different events and a lot of different purposes moving forward.
What do you see for Opaline here on this university, and what kind of improvements or opportunities does Opaline, the finished product, and the schoolhouse add to Boise State?
So our thought process is, at this point, it is a prime location for a tailgate. It's a perfect spot where you can see the Jumbotron. You're right there front and center with all the activity that's happening with tailgating. It's going to be an amazing space for us to use for our own tailgates, or for us to allow students to use for tailgates, or whatever the end process is for that particular event. It is also the potential for it to be used for an event space for Christ Chapel. Christ Chapel is currently used for weddings. So this could lend itself very, very nicely for a reception space or something along those lines.
I spent a lot of time tailgating over in that area, and it's just so prime location, being able to see the stadium right there and really just immerse in with everyone that's already tailgating there. But to have that nice building right next to the chapel, I mean, that's the closest walk to those steps to get into the stadium. I mean, it is just prime location. I think with that, I thank you for this interview, and thank you for taking the time. And
absolutely.
Again, it was great to meet you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thanks.
Today, we're embarking on a special project, documenting the restoration of this historic building behind me. This building has had quite the journey. Originally built as a schoolhouse in Opaline, Idaho, it's made its way here in the 1980s, starting at the tennis courts and eventually ending up here behind the Christ Chapel. It eventually became a museum of education, somewhat forgotten. Sadly, it's seen better days. With paint peeling, siding weathered, and broken windows, it's in need of some serious TLC, but we're about to breathe new life into it. Over the coming weeks, we'll be working with roofers, painters, and other contractors to restore this building to its former glory. We'll also be exploring its historical significance with historians, librarians, and other stakeholders. So stay tuned as we embark on this journey to preserve a piece of Idaho's history and bring this building back to life.
So they have requested to have some tests done. So they've got asbestos and lead-based tests that they're gonna have done. And that means somebody else for you to interview. So the next thing we gotta do is wait for those guys to come out, and then you're gonna go out and do an interview.
Cool.
Today, we're meeting with Eric from Ecodynamics, who's gonna be testing our building for hazardous material. Let's go inside and meet him. Hey, Eric, how's it going?
How's it going, Jake?
Good. Thanks for coming and meeting us.
Yeah, no worries.
What kind of work do you do? What kind of testing are you getting done today?
So I usually do anything related to mold, lead, or asbestos that's third-party related. I can do sampling, testing, investigations, write remediation protocol, as well as doing third-party post-investigations, showing that work has been done and done well,
Cool.
and doing the documentation and paperwork side of things.
Yeah. So what would you recommend on an old building like this?
For a building like this, if we're going to be doing any disturbance of materials, trying to fix some of the water staining and some of the, previous water damage for a building at 130-something years old, I'd probably recommend having an asbestos and lead survey conducted prior to, any disturbance occurring.
So if there is lead-based paint, then what would the process be? Would we have to completely remove that?
Ideally, you would want to get rid of it, but there are some old buildings, say if we talk about old Victorian buildings or ones we're trying to restore, that it's in good condition, it's not deteriorating.
Nice.
You can do certain methods to cleaning it up and making it basically so it's not going to expose or hurt people.
Cool. All right, awesome. Well, let's get started, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, nice talking with you.
Yeah, nice to talk to you too. After meeting with contractors, getting bids, and taking the initial walk around, we're really excited to actually start removing some of the stuff above the ceiling today. Last week, we met with Eric, who was giving us an asbestos and lead paint test, and we're meeting with Tim, who's gonna give us the results of that test. Let's go inside and meet him. How's it going, Tim?
How are we doing, Jake?
Good, good. I'm excited to hear about last week.
Yeah, things went pretty well, actually.
Sweet.
Test came back from Eric. So everything inside is clean. No asbestos, no lead. That's the plaster in the walls.
Great.
The drywall is free of asbestos. There's no lead in the paint on the interior at all.
Sweet.
So we'll kind of just get right into it. We've got Jay here with us, who's our carpenter. He's going to help us.
Nice to meet you, Jay.
Got a couple access holes in the ceiling. We're going to get up in there with a couple of our techs. We'll take out the insulation. Kind of see what's up there.
Yeah.
Address anything else that might come at us that kind of might surprise us.
Animals.
Jay's also going to help us cover these original slate chalkboards we have in the back, so we don't mess any of those up, because those are kind of hard to find these days.
Yeah.
A little bit expensive to replace as well.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the extra caution. That's really awesome. So you said the interior paint doesn't have lead. Does the exterior paint?
Yes. So the exterior on the outside did test positive for lead.
Okay.
So in that event, you guys have your own painter who's going to be working on this, and you'll let him know, and he will take all the precautions and get done what he needs to do to make sure that none of that affects anybody else.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, that sounds great. I'll let you guys get to it, and thank you so much for filling us in. Thanks again.
I appreciate that, Jake.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Nice to meet you. Hello, we're here on the second story of the Albertsons Library with Cheryl A. Stryker. Would you mind telling us a little bit about what you do here at the library?
Sure. So my role here is as head of special collections and archives, which basically means we're the keeper of the history.
Nice.
We collect rare and unique materials about local, regional, and state history and university history. So if there's ever anything you want to know, you come to us.
Cool. Yeah, we were just talking about this beautiful room that we're in and all the history that it has of the West. And I think it's really interesting that we keep all of these books here. Do we have any written literature on the Opaline School?
So to my knowledge, there isn't a published book or anything, but I'm not positive about that. But what we have are historic photos and records that include things like articles, press releases, memos, correspondence, and other things that talk about why Opaline School is on campus, what the impetus was, how it got here, and what its purpose was.
So can you tell us about what you know for Opaline and the story of it?
Sure. We have records in the archives. This happened in the early 1980s. It started around 1980. Actually started probably around 1982, I think, was somewhat of the idea of it.
Right.
The president at the time, John Kaiser, was really interested in getting, his inspiration was the 50th anniversary of the school. We were founded in 1932. And so in 1982, there was a lot of celebrations about Boise State history.
Yeah.
And he was really interested in getting a one-room school to help celebrate the history of education in Idaho, as well as using it as a classroom and other kind of space. So essentially, he put out a call, an open call to anybody who had something. And over some time, there aren't a ton of one-room schoolhouses around, even at that time.
Right.
And this one was only about 30 miles away in the Marsing area near Givens Hot Springs. And so they worked with the water district, and they had been using it as their headquarters.
Okay.
It was built in 1914 and actually was only used as a school for about 15 years and then was abandoned. And then at some point, the water district started using it for their offices. And when this call came out, they were like, okay, sure, you can have our school or this building. Right. It was moved to campus, and it's been here ever since. It arrived here around 1984, 1985, and it took a while to do some renovations, to get it settled, etc. And so it's been here for about 40 years.
Well, thank you again, Cheryl. It's really important, obviously, to be able to preserve Idaho history as we're trying to do with the Opaline School. And it's good to know that we on campus and people in our community can reach and look into these archives and help preserve Idaho history on paper and in stories as we do here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I need you to keep it up because I've got a surprise. Through some research, I found a school teacher that taught at the Opaline School back in the 40s when it was at its original location.
Oh my gosh.
So her name is Dorothy Vaughk, and she is 104 years old now. I've been in contact with her daughter, and her daughter is willing to bring her to campus so we can interview her, and we're going to do it inside the schoolhouse.
And it's safe to do that right now?
Well, we're between contractors.
Okay.
The last guys had just finished up, and we're waiting a little bit to get the next ones in. Since we have this dead time in between, we're going to clean it up inside, make sure it's safe for her, and hopefully the location will bring back some memories, and you get to talk to her about that.
Nice. That actually sounds awesome. Okay.
Cool.
Dorothy Vaughk. I was a Schuler, one of 12, and I had like 12 kids, so I had a big family. So I was 18 when I graduated from high school. I went to College of Idaho for 2 years, and I started teaching in that third year. Wow. So, it was my very first school, and so it was pretty much of a greenhorn. I didn't really know what to do, but all the people knew better than I did what was happening. I had first of all, I only had 8 kids, and then a CCC camp, which was Civil Conservation Corps, moved into that area. And all of a sudden, I had 18 students. So out of these 18 students, some of them had never had a formal education before. So I was their personal advisor, I guess you'd say. So everybody was in the community was really nice to me. So they taught me a lot because when you're teaching for the first time, you have a lot to learn. You have to learn to appreciate the kids and to listen to their stories and to try to teach them something. Sometimes it was hard to get through. It was easier to teach the girls than it was the boys because the girls were more receptive. The boys thought they already knew everything. Whenever there was anything at the school, the whole community came. Maybe I had 50 people in the audience because everybody in the whole district came to the school. And then there was a school, I had a little thing on the side, like a little platform where the students did their performances. And then there was a little area where they could change clothes, and it was all behind a curtain. So we pulled the curtain back, and we had and they performed over here on the side. Anyway, now I'm retired, and don't have very much to do anymore, but I can still talk.
I'm amazed that we got that kind of response from her and that we got some really great first-person perspective on what that school used to be.
She knew everything.
I'm really glad we got that. And I think it fits in with like creating historical context for that building. So we need to go talk with some more contractors. Some things have changed and we need to go find out where we're at. So let's head back over to the building and see what's going on.
Cool, I'm excited. We've been working on this project for several weeks now, and we actually have an unexpected addition to the scope of work. Due to the lingering smell, we've decided to completely remove the ceiling. There are holes in the roof which allow rainwater to come in and soak through the animal waste that was there and permeate into the ceiling material. Here to do the removal is disaster cleanup. Let's head inside and check in on how the work is going. Hey, thanks again for doing this, Tim.
How you doing, Jake?
Good, good. How are you?
Good.
Good. All right, do you mind telling us a little bit about what you're doing today?
Yeah, so we're in there today. We're dropping the ceiling.
Nice.
That's where we've held most of our smell and our moisture, I think.
Yeah.
Ceiling's pretty well deteriorated, a little bit of mold up there.
Okay.
And definitely with the water coming through the holes in the roof.
Right.
And coming down through the feces and all that stuff that we had up there. It's really just kind of soaked into that drywall. And
Yeah.
really is probably the number one sense of smell right now. Like that's
Yeah.
what's really causing our smell inside.
Nice.
So we're dropping that lid. We're gonna get this thing aired out. We've got an air
Sweet.
scrubber in there that we're gonna put a good smelly in, and hopefully, as this progresses, after we get this lid out, we kind of start getting rid of some of that smell on the
Yeah,
inside.
yeah, that's awesome. So what's the process of removing the drywall? Are you guys just sawing the whole thing down or taking it piece by piece?
Since we are kind of trying to be careful around windows and things like that,
Of course.
we're doing it in sections. So
Okay,
we'll cut it into
nice.
squares and bring it down in a piece.
Nice. Very cool.
Um,
And I see you have some stuff on the floor. Is that just to protect the?
the catch
original
any
flooring?
dust that's falling,
Nice.
any drywall that's fell, and protect the floor as much as we can.
Right.
Keep it in the original floor that we have in here.
Yeah,
Just
the wood flooring.
as much of the original structure as we can.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, and thank you again. I see you guys got the trailer. Are you gonna haul this all the way to the Ada County landfill, or where? do
Yes,
you guys...
we'll drop it off at the landfill on our way out of here today, and
Awesome.
Luckily, like there's nothing bad about this drywall, so we can just take it right to the dump and right with the rest of the stuff.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thanks again, and I'll let you get going.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, it's our last day here with disaster cleanup. Thanks again, Tim. Would you mind
Thank you,
telling
Jake.
us a little bit about what you're doing in here today?
Yes, last thing we're doing, we're dropping the ozone machine inside the building. It pumps out O3 molecules, which is like the ozone up in the air.
Yeah.
It's not really safe to breathe. You can't have people in there. It's dangerous, but it neutralizes the odors on a molecular level. I don't know
Great.
specifics of really how that works, but it's
Yeah.
scientific.
It works.
Yeah, we have it sealed up. We have signs on the door to keep
Nice.
people out for their safety.
Yeah. Well, we won't be going in there. Yeah, and it should help with the smell.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, it neutralizes odors. We use
Sweet.
it in fire losses, things like that.
Nice.
It's kind of the last thing we do to help bring the scent out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Get it back to
Yeah.
smelling normal again.
Mhm.
Sweet. Well, we appreciate it, and we appreciate your help with this whole project. So thank you again, Tim.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure too. Okay.
Hey, Jake.
Paying rent.
Thanks for meeting with me in my office.
Yeah.
I've been reviewing the footage, and I think the work you've been doing has been getting better and better. In fact, it's really smoothed out, and your performances are really good right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, I mean, it came right with a lot of practice.
Rocky at the start.
You get better at stuff.
Right.
There is one last interview I'd like you to do for me. It's kind of a big wrapper. I wasn't expecting this one initially, but like these projects, things change.
Cool.
And it's with the Associate Vice President of Campus Operations. His name's Drew Alexander.
Whoa.
Yeah, kind of moved up the ladder here.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be able to speak to some things about like big picture things with regards to the university.
Yeah.
And I didn't think we could take an opportunity like that and pass it up. So I've got the meeting scheduled, and we're going to have you do that.
Cool. I'm excited to learn more from him. It's
Great.
gonna be awesome. Yeah. Great.
Today we are talking with Drew Alexander, and we've got a couple questions for you, Drew. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat
Yeah,
with
thanks
us
for
today.
interviewing me.
Yeah, no, of course. So I guess jumping right in, do you mind telling us your role here at the university?
Of course, yeah. I am the Associate Vice President for Campus Operations.
Wow.
So Campus Operations oversees the planning, design, construction, maintenance, and sustainability efforts at the university.
Okay. So with that, I guess, maintenance role and design and you overseeing all of that, do you mind telling us how foam fits into your work? Do you
Sure,
work
yeah.
directly with them or?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
FOAM is one of those 4 teams, facilities, operations, and maintenance.
Okay.
And I often talk about it on a kind of a continuity. So we start oftentimes with an idea or a plan, and that's the campus planning and space management group.
Yeah.
When we have something that the university wants to execute, the architectural and engineering services team is the project management group that implements.
Okay.
Once we have a facility or a space that's constructed and active, facilities operations and maintenance will step in and they keep it maintained,
Yeah.
keep it functional, keep it operational. And then that last team, the Office of Sustainability, their goals and objectives are hopefully filtering through everything that we do.
Right.
So those are the 4 groups, and it's kind of on this linear scale.
Yeah.
And so I spend a lot of time with Barb and Foam,
Yeah.
making sure that our campus is safe, maintained, clean. We have over 200 buildings and more than 6 million square feet of space.
Yeah.
Facilities maintains 4 million of the 6 million. So they have a huge task, and
Wow.
they do a really amazing job keeping campus as presentable as it is.
Seems like it's clearly working out. I mean, walking around the university, like everything's in tip-top shape.
Yeah.
Are you part of the group that decided to pick Opaline Schoolhouse to start this project, and how did that come about?
Yeah, I am. There were a number of people involved in the decision to do this project.
Yeah.
But with 200 buildings and 6 million square feet of space, we're charged with keeping campus, as I said, presentable, welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we talk about a lot in campus operations is the power of a first impression.
Yeah.
We have a consistent population on campus with faculty, staff, and students, but every building and space that we have has the potential to have that first impression that's really powerful. And it could be something that turns into a long-lasting impression.
Yeah.
And so often what we do is we try to scan the entirety of campus, all the buildings. And with something like Opaline, because it's a smaller structure and we're a growing university, oftentimes those facilities and spaces can kind of unfortunately get overlooked.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you go by and you think, wow, we really need to do something about that. And I work in this building, which is slightly off campus, so I bike to and from campus a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it was sometime early this year or last year, we're biking past Opaline. I thought, we really need to do something with this awesome, smaller building, and it's due.
Yeah.
And especially with its location being near the stadium, which was one of the most highly visited, most concentrated event venues that we have. By doing something there, we could really showcase the work that we do within campus operations and really elevate the importance of some of the historical older buildings that we have on campus.
What does the schoolhouse bring to Boise State University as a whole now that it's fixed up and being right in its prime spot?
Yeah, with Boise State, a lot of our growth has happened in the last 20 or 25 years, and our campus doesn't have that length of time and a wealth of historic buildings on its campus. A lot of our architecture spans eras from middle of the century to some of our more current buildings.
Right.
So what it does, we have 200 acres here in all public space, obviously. So it gives us the ability to say that we have a really awesome small building that dates back to 1916.
Yeah.
It wasn't ours originally, as we all know, but it gives our campus a little bit more of a historical flavor, and it gives us the ability to showcase something that's way different than the typical brick academic buildings that you see across campus.
Yeah.
And we're really proud of that.
Yeah. is there anything you'd like to add to that, to the use of this building and the future of it?
With anything that we are involved with in campus operations, students are our primary customer. That's what the majority of our work intends to do, is to support the academic mission and the work that students are doing.
Yeah.
So at a minimum, even if the event equation is an exciting proposition, I hope that this serves as a long-standing opportunity for students to see how buildings are maintained, learn more about history of education in Idaho, or use the building for whatever variety of academic purposes it can be used for.
Yeah.
So I hope at a minimum, it becomes a very valuable asset for students in the academic mission.
Well, I'll tell you now, I mean, just being a part of this crew and working on this documentary, we have gotten, as students, a lot of value out of this. So I thank you for picking that project and allowing us to be there and, you know, follow along, because it truly has just been a really good experience for all of us here. So
it's really great to hear.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time with us, Drew. It was really great to meet you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course. We love it.
Awesome.
I thought the interview with Drew went really well, honestly. I was excited to learn all the information that he had to share.
Yeah, it's a big campus and he's got a big responsibility.
Yeah, I was a little nervous, to be honest, but he was a really nice guy, and I feel like he was pretty open and honest about everything that was going on with foam and campus, and I think it was really cool to learn what Opaline meant to him and to campus. Yeah.
Well, I've heard there's been some progress on the roof, and I'm gonna go take a look. You wanna go?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go to it.
Cool.
Welcome back. We're here with Seth from Arc Commercial Roofing. Seth, thank you so much for taking the time to be out here.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so do you mind telling us a little bit about this specific roof you're putting up?
Yes, we are restoring this back to kind of the original way it was installed, with a cedar shake.
Nice.
Which we originally tore off, and now we're reinstalling back on.
Cool, and obviously this is kind of a pricey roof to put up there. Are there other cheaper options that your business can do?
Definitely. There's asphalt shingles that's cheaper, you know, kind of a, you know, just a basic middle roof would be cheaper. So this is a little bit more pricey project. For sure.
So speaking of your business, is this usually the type of projects that you do, or are you more like real estate, any other type of work that you do around the valley here?
So we're primarily commercial flat roofing and middle siding.
Oh, cool. Okay. So it's just kind of, this isn't something you normally do, but it's cool to be out here doing this.
Definitely heard about this project and want to be involved in it.
Yeah, it's nice. And your business can kind of do multiple things. That's awesome. Multifaceted. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here, Seth. We really appreciate it.
All right, that roof is gonna look fantastic. I'm glad they found extra money to put the shakes on. It's right for the building. It's gonna last a long time, and it's beautiful.
So now that we're heading into the end of the semester, what's the plan over summer break?
So we've got a little bit of a break we're gonna take because we just don't have the staff and everybody's here. And some of the interior is gonna get finished without us.
Okay.
And then when we are all back, we'll do one more little interview and show the interior when it's all wrapped up. It's unfortunate we don't get to cover it, but that's the reality of these kinds of shoots sometimes.
Yeah. Here we are in the final stages of restoring the Opaline Schoolhouse. It just looks and smells so good in here. I would like to walk you guys through some of the things that we've changed, what we've kept original, and some of the other things I noticed as we walk through. So to start, we do have arched ceilings, which is so nice. It really adds to the space and makes it feel a lot bigger in here compared to the flat ceiling that we had. Really just adds to the depth of the room. Along with the pine floorings that we have kept original, one of the things we have yet to do is to seal the pine and get a new finish over. But All in all, this place looks completely new. I mean, just looking at the floorboards along with the trim and all of the paint jobs that have been done in here, it looks amazing. We have kept the original fireplace, which really just adds to the originality of the building. One of the bigger projects that we were able to take on was adding electricity, which is so nice and really gives it that modern feel. We got a couple new light fixtures in here, along with one of the bigger projects we ended up doing was adding a heating unit, which really makes it a lot more bearable in this room. Idaho's weather can just be all over the place, so while it's 30 degrees outside, it's a nice 70 in here right now, which really does make this a lot nicer. But with that, we have made a lot of good progress, and I'm just so proud of everything we've been able to create, and really excited for the next project we tackle. With us wrapping up on this project, I just want to give a huge thank you to the stakeholders and everyone who has been a part of Opaline Schoolhouse restoration. I'm so excited for the next project that we're able to tackle, and again, thank you all. We'll see you on the next one.